How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about PROG stock. In regards to how well we did on the day, there was no change from how we closed yesterday, which was at $2.72. But as far as for the price action, there's some things that I want to share with you because when we were doing the technicals in previous videos, the psychological area at $3 has been showing out. And what we want to know is what it could possibly look like going into tomorrow and as well as next week. But I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in a bearish case scenario and as well as in a bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. The reason why this is important because the short interest does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to take a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know what was the buying and the selling behavior like on the institutional side and as well as on the retail side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for PROG. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $2.72. So we had no change whatsoever from the previous trading day. Now, when we take a look at the range on the low, it ended up testing $2.58, and then on the high, testing $2.99. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, we traded at 33.049 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 55.457 million shares. So right away, as you can see, we had below average volume on the day, but of course, this caused no change in the price. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is the daily chart, we can see from the RSI down below, it is at 42.33. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 21-day EMA. We're also below the 200-day. We're also below the 50-day, but we are above the 100-day. So as you can see very clear, PROG is looking fairly bearish. On the low, we ended up testing 258. And like I was saying in the previous video, you want to see some strength here right at the 250 level. So going into tomorrow, if we end up testing 250, you want to look for a bounce. If you don't get that bounce that you're looking for, then of course we can pull back here to 243 and even pull back as far going to $2.34. Now, as far as for the bullish case scenario on the high of the day, we got to $2.99. So remember what I said, $3 now becomes a psychological area for PROG. So this is why it could deal with a good amount of selling pressure or people just wanting to exit out of the position. And that's why we had the resistance. So we want to see the volume pick up so we can get past $3 and then make that move to see how well we do at 311 and then essentially testing over here another resistance around 321. Passing 321 with a lot of momentum, that's where I'd want to see us reclaim the 21-day EMA around $3.46, which is very doable for a stock like PROG, but again, it thrives on volume. So now that you have a good idea what it looks like in a bearish case scenario and as well as for the bullish case scenario, the neutral scenario would be is for PROG to actually come back to reclaim the 200-day and be able to consolidate right at $2.89 because it did end up closing at $2.72. So let's see what happens going into tomorrow. Take a look at the short interest information for PROG. So for the dark pool short volume ratio, it is at 53.25%, and then for the dark pool short volume being at 11.98 million shares, just over that. And then when we take a look at the short shares availability, it is at 700,000, updated 15 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 42.53%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of November the 30th, it was 53.12. And then for the close of December the 1st, which was yesterday, being at 53.25. So what this tells us, there's a lot of negative market sentiment around PROG stock, but it does contribute to its overall volatility. And this is why if we have above average volume, then we could see some moves to the upside. Of course, this would be caused by by buying pressure. So if you are going to be in this play, you want to make sure you're going in the right direction in regards to how it's looking with the price action, and you can figure this out when you're paying attention to support, resistance areas, and how the stock is looking in the pre-market as well as going into the open and the overall market conditions. So now let's jump into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for PROG. So we can see here on the inflow is at 19.96, and then on the outflow is at 18. Now when we take a look at the breakdown, we had 0 on the large for the inflow side, of course. On the medium, we had 12.55, and then on the small, we had 7.41. When we take a look at the outflow side, we had 0 on the large. On the medium, it was 12.12, and then on the small, it was 5.88. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today it ended up being 0. When we analyze these numbers even further, taking a look at the small scale orders, you can see that we had more buying than we had selling, and this tends to represent the retail side. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling, but it was fairly close. And of course on the large it was 0, and this tends to represent institutions. Now when we take a look at the turnover ratio though, the turnover is at 20.26. So of course there's a lot of traders that are going in and out of this play, and also with the conditions we have inside of the market, there's a good amount of selling. But one thing that is clear, there is demand for PROG shares. So when it did pull back to $2.58, we know there's a lot of buyers that stepped in and bought shares at that range. So now let's jump into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for PROG stock, they ended up putting out a press release in regards to a new patent. Yes, people do get excited about that, but at the end of the day, we still can't ignore what the technical setup actually looks like. Also, one of my subscribers asked me, Dre, where do you see PROG pulling back to? And I was saying last night that it could go to around $2.50. We ended up testing $2.58. So going into tomorrow, you'd want to see $2.50 actually hold. This is very crucial because if we break through 250, that's where we have the downside. And also, you guys know already, I don't like when I see price action that is below the 200-day. And currently that is around $2.89. So for it to look bullish and start looking strong again, I want to see PROG above $2.89 and reclaim that $3 level. We did test $2.99. So this confirms that $3 is a psychological area, and there is going to be a lot of selling pressure, many wanting to exit their positions. So this is why volume overall in general is very important, and you want to make sure there's buying pressure going through the stock. And when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. So this is why you want to keep it on your watch list, because if you do see some strong moves in price action, then we could see some moves to the upside. But do know, with that volatility, you could have strong pullbacks. But as a trader, you got to make sure whatever position that you're taking, you're going in the right direction, whether you're trying to go long or whether you're trying to go short. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon, and I can't wait to see what PROG does tomorrow.